And welcome to the regular meeting of the Board of Education for Tuesday, November 5th, 2013. We have just returned from closed session where we have discussed negotiations, and we will be going back into closed session after this meeting to do expulsions and other items. So we will begin with the pledge, and Sherry Edkuban is going to lead us in the pledge.
Please stand. Put your hands on your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please sit down.
Well, this is a very special evening where the school board and the whole Newark community is going to be honoring one of our own. And so I would ask Mr. Ray Rodriguez to join me. Are we going to be?
The choir's going to sing
All
America
right.
the Beautiful
That's even
before
better.
we get to that point.
Oh,
So,
great,
yeah, sorry.
wonderful.
Thanks.
Oh, that was beautiful. Thank you so much. We are going to have to get good notice of when you're going to have other performances during the year. That was absolutely wonderful. Thank you. So now, Mr. Rodriguez and I would like to come forward and recognize Jean Ficklin for her many, many years of service, not only to the African American Cultural and Historical Society, but to our district as a longtime retired teacher. Jean, we love you.
Charlie and Gareth, why don't you come up? This proclamation is so long, I just, I'll be all tired out if I have to do it on myself. So we're going to get the other board members to help us read. First, you need a hug.
Jean, you come stand here. Okay. Newark Unified District Proclamation. Whereas the African American Cultural and Historical Society, Incorporated, formed 39 years ago to provide a vehicle for Black Americans in the area to share their heritage and culture, as well as works in harmony with multi-ethnic associations of the area and
our district is full of passionate, eager learners who believe in the values of equality, quality public education for all, and the African American Culture and Historical Society Incorporated provides for the engagement and education of our district-wide community and
whereas school leaders depend on a network of community members, parents, community-based organizations, and resources to promote ongoing student achievement and school success, and whereas they continue to provide learning, self-esteem building, fellowship, understanding of tolerance, and multicultural engagement through their annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. commemorative service annually, and
Whereas the Society has continued to sponsor a Black History program the second week of February, now in its 39th year, that reflects on the contributions that African Americans have made to American society and the rest of the world. And whereas the Society also holds an annual Kwanzaa event at the end of December, this multicultural event is where children are appreciated by the adults as the first fruits, and children learn what it really means to honor their elders. And
whereas the Society has remembered the need to reach back and help another along their way through the annual distribution of scholarships to provide a means to achieve higher education and as a means of economic mobility for recipients. And whereas the Newark Unified School District's education system depends on volunteers to strengthen the quality of the education, classroom, and extracurricular experiences of its students district-wide. Now, therefore,
be it resolved by the Governing Board of the Newark Unified School District that we commend the African American Cultural and Historical Society, Incorporated, for their contributions made to develop and empower every student to be productive, responsible, and successful students.
it's passed and adopted on October 1st, 2013 by the Newark Unified School District Board of Education.
And it's signed by all of us.
society members, please come forward.
Yeah, please.
Drunken has been a speaker at Gene's events, and so what I heard, he did an excellent job.
On behalf of the school board, our entire community, we'd like to thank you for your years of service to our students, community, and friends of Newark, California. Thank you, Gene. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm overwhelmed. All the students disappeared. I wanted to ask them to sing America the Beautiful at the Dr. Martin Luther King event because I just asked someone to do it and they said they couldn't. So, okay. January 12th, the second Sunday. Okay. All right. I'd just like to say thank you so much to those who are here. My sisters, would my sisters please stand? Ms. Pam Hughes, the principal of Kennedy Elementary School, and Mrs. Ruth Ann Hunt, who is the co-president of Beta Kappa, Alpha Delta Kappa, International Sorority for Women Educators. Thank you for being here. I'd just like to tell you that this is going to be a big year for our society because we are approaching our 40th year and we will be celebrating in a big way on June 1st. And we would like for all of you to come. We are not doing Kwanzaa in a big way this year because we are putting our efforts into being at New Park Mall during the month of February. They are allowing us to be there during the month of February. And we have a scheduled time, but we will be available to classroom teachers if they would like to bring their children there by appointment. So, and on January 12th, which is the second Sunday, we will be at the First Presbyterian Church of Newark for our 37th annual Dr. Martin Luther King event. And on Saturday, February 8th, we'll be at the Newark Community Center celebrating our Black History Month event. And the theme for the next year, 2014, is Civil Rights in America. There's much to be done. I'm a native Mississippian, and my people just got freed from slavery in February of this year, which was quite astonishing to me. But yes, there's more work to be done. We appreciate all that you have done to help us carry our cause and to share with other groups. We work with other groups, and we just want to continue to feel like community. One last thought. I've always felt that homes, church, and school were the best parts of a community, the essence of a community, because that's the way I grew up in a segregated place, home, church, school. And I attended a big event this past Monday, a week ago, at the Fremont Marriott. And the superintendent of Hayward Unified School District was the speaker to the clergy. It was a clergy appreciation. There were pastors of all nationalities, of all faiths, male and female. The essence of Superintendent Dodd's message was we can no longer have prayer in the schools, but praying people can help the schools So last week I went to my church and I do devotion for the quilters on Tuesday. And we prayed for the students, for the teachers, and for you, school personnel. We did it again today, and we will continue to pray for you. We will be the praying people to pray for you, to do the best job that you can do to educate children and inspire them to be world-class learners. Superintendent Dodd made one strong point. Schools do not exist to raise children. That's the first teacher's job, the parents. You are to educate and inspire. So I could just talk a long time, but I'm going to stop. Thank you.
I invited some members of the NAACP that might not be part of the young people that are over here. Are you here today? Could you stand up for us? Did you want to say something? Okay. Hopefully not as long as Jean. No?
Ms. Fickle, will you please come? Good evening to the board, trustees, superintendent. It is with great honor that we are here tonight to help you celebrate with Miss Jean Ficklin. From this day forward, we will be calling her the Honorable Jean Ficklin. And I think that deserves it. Last month, the Hayward South Alameda County NAACP was privileged to honor Ms. Ficklin, as well as the African Cultural Society, for being involved in this state, this community for 40 years. And tonight, I would like to present to you the pictures of that event. Lovely, lovely pictures of that event. And we do appreciate you. We appreciate all that you have done in this area. And you will be seeing more of the NAACP in this area. And Ms. Ficklin has invited that we partner together so we can continue to have a strong and better community. We do appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you.
Dr. Scott, who's, I think, one of our administrators at the high school, brought a couple of young ladies from the Black Student Union.
They represented last year, and they're both in college at the Answer College. They came here tonight to celebrate Ms. Ficklin and her achievement. So,
Thank you. Unless somebody else wants to say something, we're going to break for about 10 minutes, and we have some punch and cookies, and you're welcome to stay with us as long as you want, but our board meetings run long, so we don't expect you to stay, too long, but why don't we just break right now, if that's okay with everybody? Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, you were with
agenda. Is there any interest in changing any agenda order or any agenda items?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the agenda as is.
Okay, it's been, motion's been made and seconded that we approve the agenda as is. Please vote.
Ms. Thomas? Oh, wait a minute. Hold it. You're Ms. Crocker, aren't you? All right. Sorry. Let's start over again.
I need to use this.
Yeah, you need to use this one. Okay. Let's try it again. Okay. Hey, look at that.
It's 5 ayes with Member Crocker absent this evening. Next, we move on to student council reports and school spotlight presentation. Superintendent, would you like to introduce those?
Yes, I would. Thank you, Vice President Thomas. Our student reports, before we have our employee recognition and spotlight on Newark Junior High School, we have McGregor, Bridgepoint. So if Edelweiss, is that how you say it, would come up and give to the board the update from the Bridgepoint campus. Thank you.
Good evening, Superintendent, President, Vice President, and members of the board. My name is Edwise Moala. I'm a student from Bridgepoint High School. This week we are having open house at 7:00 p.m. this Thursday in our cafeteria. And we also have been planning our prom committee, and it's been coming out well. And we've been looking into hotels and halls and room rentals in hotels in San Francisco, Berkeley, Oakland, Fremont, and it comes down to where it's expensive, and we're doing fundraisers, so we're trying to get more money so that we have more funds and we have more money to do more activities this year. Just like Mr. O wanted to go to Santa Cruz to go surfing because he wants to go back on surfing. It takes everybody. So yeah, and we're also planning to we have activities once a month where we have dodgeball, we have volleyball tournaments, and this year we're planning on playing sports with another school and just doing more fundraisers to get more money for prom committee and for basically adventures and other activities that we can do this year. And we also updated our school by tall program, planting gardens and flowers in front of our school. We have Mr. Arput wants to work out again and become young again, so we're gonna redo a little gym in the back where we can do push-up weights and everything. We also have 13 more new students at our school, and our school is basically a home, and it's like we're one big happy family at Bridgepoint, and we just love our staff. We just love our students. We basically get along with each other, understand more of each other, and it's more calm at our school, and also wakes us up, opens our eyes for like everything that we don't see that we usually see now. But we like to thank our principal because we love him, and our staff too. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. From Newark Memorial High School, Nicole.
So there was a Day of the Dead celebration on Friday with lots of food, activities, and performances. Halloween was really fun. Everyone dressed up, and everyone that did dress up was able to attend Trunk or Treat. And so what that is, they go to the big parking lot, Blink crew, people who went and welcome the freshmen, come in with their cars, they fill it up with candy, and you could get in either with a costume or with a canned good. Interact volunteered also on the same day at Saha, which is an affordable living care center for the elderly. That was really, really fun. We had 12 volunteers, around 65 participants, none of which spoke English, and they were all Chinese dialect speakers. So it was really fun, lots of crafts and games. We're going back for another Thanksgiving party. The Cassie is now taking place for 11th graders today and tomorrow. Our annual Viola Blythe canned food drive is now in full effect. Every third period is trying to raise as many cans as they can, and whoever has the most gets a pizza party as an incentive. We have A-period tutoring Tuesday and Friday mornings before school starts for athletes and different people that aren't able to stay after school. Tutor Tuesdays are also in effect. That Interact has started for anyone interested. The new Merck Memorial web store has officially opened as of yesterday, and so now we can purchase tickets, school apparel, PE clothes, yearbooks, any other supplies we need online with the credit cards and things like that. And that's at www.nmhcougarstore.com if anyone's interested. Puente is holding a Panda Express fundraiser on Jarvis tomorrow night at 4:30 to 8:30 if anyone's interested in going and helping out our clubs. Girl basketball tryouts have started this Monday, and wrestling and girls soccer has started up yesterday. So the first quarter is over. It's been busy so far, and it's really nice to see the school progressing so far in the year.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Irwin, who is going to recognize our classified and certificated teachers from Newark Junior High School and then introduce the principal and staff members. So, Mr. Irwin.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Markin. Vice President Thomas and members of the board, as we spotlight Newark Junior High School this evening, it's our pleasure to spotlight 2 of their employees. I'd like to invite Maria Huffer up. Maria Huffer is a dedicated Newark Unified employee. She is able to make connections with students and able to help them succeed in their classes. She has a kind and gentle spirit that enable her to be the most effective paraeducator. In the resource classroom, she helps students build their confidence with reading, by reading with them and helping them to figure out what reading strategies to use in order to analyze text. Not only is she a paraeducator, but she is also the school's CELT coordinator and is a valuable asset to the community. She takes her role very seriously and is the utmost professional when completing her tasks. Congratulations, Maria, on being named Newark Junior High School's Spotlight Classified Employee. Ryan Hernandez. Ryan Hernandez has the gift of teaching children to play and sing beautiful music, as witnessed earlier this evening. Since coming and joining the school, Ryan has given Newark Junior High School a name in the music community. After building a music program from the ground up last year, he took over 80 students to the music festival in the park, where Newark Junior High students brought home 2 superior trophies and high marks on their musical ability. In addition, this year's band was dressed in uniforms and led the parade for Newark Unified School District at the Newark Days Parade. These students had never played in a marching band, and within a few weeks of school starting, they not only learned how to play the instruments, they learned how to march at the same time. Ryan has built such a popular music program at Newark Junior High that this year they have an advanced class in both band and choir. There were so many students wanting to be part of the music program that they did have to turn some away. We would like to thank Ryan for all he is doing and for being an outstanding educator of the arts. And he is Newark Junior High School's Spotlight Certificated Employee. Congratulations, Ryan. It's my pleasure to introduce the principal of Newark Junior High School, Mr. Mark Neal.
I'm actually going to talk this year. I had a suit ready for today, but then we got our new sweatshirts, so I thought I'd showcase those for you guys, front and back. If you want one, I think it's like $1.89 off the retail price for board members. So,
all right.
$1.89 off the retail price. I think it's like $2.11 for...
I thought they were free for us.
Oh, see, what had happened was, I got you, Jan. Just let me know the size. Talk to Mark and I got you. It's medium. Ready?
Medium.
So, thank you for it's our little inside joke. Oh, Charlie, you want one too? All right, I got you. All right, let's see what I can do. Thank you for having us tonight to spotlight Newark Junior High School. We're going to talk briefly about what's going on. As you see, thanks to, where's Jenny Rios? Jenny Rios right there. She gave us that sign right there this year. Oh, and Elaine Nielsen as well helped pay for that. So appreciate the brand new sign at Newark Junior High School. So when you walk in, you see that sign, it lets you know where you're going. So you know where you are and where you're going. So thank you for that sign. I want to just put that up there. I didn't know Jenny was going to be here, but Jenny, thank you so much for that. So I'm going to take a page out of Dr. Markin's book and talk about where we were, where we are, and where we're going at Newark Junior High School. So where we were 3 years ago when I showed up, we had essentially 957 students. Our API was 790, and we were in program improvement year 1. Last year, 894 students. Our API went up, and we were in program improvement year 2. AYP was still an issue. This past year, coming into this year, 944 students. Our API jumped up to 820. We're still in program improvement year 3, but there's no CST test this year, and our focus has moved completely to Common Core, and we have a focus of truly elevating the instruction for our EL students, which are our largest population, our significant group. This is a 6-year API growth chart for our API, but also for our EL students. So you can see where we've been from 2008 up to 2013. The blue represents the overall school, and then the red represents our EL population, their API. So you can see there has been a steady growth over the years, both as a school-wide population, but also a slight growth for our EL as well. But there's still, you can see the achievement gap for our EL students, and that is really our focus from now on. And Dr. Hilberg has helped out with that, with training from Kevin Clark for our teachers to really change the way we deal with our EL population. I think you guys saw that in the summertime with the elementary that they had. So we've taken on that at the junior high school for this year. So where are we going? Our plan for this year really completely focuses on the Common Core and changing our instructional strategies to meet the demands of the Common Core. We have a highlight this year on academic rigor, student engagement, higher level questioning strategies, and analyzing text. So all of our professional development this year is focused on that for this current school year. We have an intensive focus on our EL students through better instructional strategies learned from Kevin Clark, like I mentioned earlier. So that's our plan for the year, actually for the next 2 years, honestly, at Newark Junior High School. That's what we'll be doing. We're going to get good at that for the next 2 years. Let's talk about electives. Where we were. As you know, a couple years ago, we had no electives at junior high school. Every student in school took 5 classes, but they had no electives. And then last year, thankfully, some electives returned to junior high school. We had band, choir, 2 periods of that, computers, art, multimedia journalism, and also yearbook. So, like Dr. Markin usually puts it, you know, we had no presents, then we had 2. So we were happy to get our 2 presents, and right now we have a whole lot more presents under the tree. So currently for this year, these are the electives that we're offering. So this is going from none 2 years ago to what we have now. Band and choir, 4 periods, and our awesome band director, Mr. Hernandez, got recognized for that. Computers and video journalism. I'm going to show you a video later that was put together by our new computer teacher, but also helped out a little bit by the kids in 8th grade. And our goal is to get them to that point of creating video journalism type assignments. We have 2 art classes. We have an advanced art and an intermediate art. So advanced is primarily for 8th graders and intermediates for 7th graders. We have Spanish 1. We have 3 periods of Spanish 1 this year. It's a high school level class. We're working on actually trying to get high school credit for that class for those students. And we also have a Spanish for Spanish speakers class, because we found out that, you know, the kids that speak Spanish can go a little bit faster in that class, but also still learning their native language, academically speaking. We have a leadership class. We also have some students that are teacher aides. We have a rocketry class this year. It used to be a club, but now it's an actual class. And we have 2 STEM classes, and we'll talk about that later with Mr. Knight. So we went from none in a 2-year period, thanks to all of you sitting in this room, the school board, Dr. Markin and Elaine, because she helps pay for it. Thanks for your generosity, you know, for allowing us to have these electives at the junior high school. It allows our kids to really participate in a comprehensive program. So I just want to thank you all, honestly, for taking that opportunity to make that step forward and bringing that back to us. So this is where we are right now, and we're not done yet. So I'd like to bring up Mr. Knight to talk about our STEM class, which is doing big things. Mr. Knight?
But first, a message from our rocketry class. Mr. Drum is a second-year teacher at our school, and he's teaching our rocketry class now. It's both for 7th and 8th grade. His classes kids are designing rockets for flight, construction, and participation in the Team America Rocketry Challenge, which is known as TARC. His students have already built rockets from kits, and they've launched them at Moffett Field in Mountain View, and they've actually they recovered every one of those rockets. After that, they turned their attention to physics and how rockets fly, propulsion, aerodynamics, and including some exciting hands-on activities and discovered the applications of Newton's 3 laws of motion. They are also learning the history of space race, including Germany's sending a rocket into London at the end of the World War II, the Soviet Union-U.S. space race, including the launching of Sputnik. He's recently now turned his attention back to the TARC competition, and they're using CAD software called RockSim to begin designing rockets, which will eventually fly as part of the TARC qualification launches and hopefully qualify to compete in the national TARC competition held in Washington, D.C. So I appreciate the work that he's doing in that. The kids seem to be having a good time and learning. Next, I'd like to talk about our STEM program. I have 4 STEM students here to showcase. They are Adara Smith, Aaron, Isabella, and Diego. And these brave souls decided to list TARC as their #1 elective choice, and we scooped them right up. We have 2 programs. We have a 7th grade program that Mr. Dieter is teaching, and I'm teaching the 8th graders. It's actually the same program. We're actually trying to see if, we're trying to do a test right now, a pilot program to see if it's more suited for 8th graders or more suited for 7th graders. But we're actually teaching the same curriculum. I have the benefit of going in the morning during the SSR period, so these kids are actually getting probably 65 to 70 minutes of instruction a day, and Mr. Dieter does his during 5th period. He only has 50 minutes instruction, so I'm kind of out in front on that one. Our class has absolutely no textbook. We designed the curriculum ourselves, and so the only books that we have at this point in time are the students' scientific composition notebooks, which are very comprehensive. So these are a legal scientific document. So we're teaching them how to do that. The topics that we have gone through so far is the energy transformations, where we've actually flipped our classroom. We had 6 different energy transformation stations, and each one of them in a group of 6 went through the whole lab setup. There's sometimes 2 or 3 different demonstrations in the lab unit. Then 3 of them stayed as teachers, and 3 of them ventured on to the next station as learners. And then the next day, the learners came back as teachers, and the teachers then became the learners. So this is like a 12-day program that we did. So this is what we call flipping the classroom, where I'm not the instructor, they're the instructor. They're teaching each other. It was pretty amazing. In fact, we actually had a visit from the Tri-City Voice, and they came out and interviewed, actually came and witnessed a class going on, and she interviewed some of our students and Mr. Dieter and myself, and there's a nice article written in October 15th edition of the Tri-City Voice, which you will all get a copy of. We are now concluding our solar energy unit, and with that, we are now constructing solar cookers. So we're in the, 2nd day, 3rd day of that? And so their task is going to be to have 100 milliliters of water and try to heat it up as much as they can in a half-an-hour period of time. After that, then's the cookout. So at lunchtime, then we're going to not heat water, we're going to actually heat food, and we're going to try to, I'm just hoping that you can get a hot dog with bacon around it for me. I love that, right? So they're going to then cook food at lunchtime using their solar cookers. So that's pretty exciting. We are going, the next unit is going to be photovoltaics. The students, we're working right now, we've got some grant money and some donation money for us. So the kids are going to dig a big hole out in front of our classroom. They're going to make a pond. They're going to make a waterfall with it and put a liner in it. And then we're going to erect a pergola and put solar panels on top. We are then going to power a DC motor to provide a pump for us for the waterfall. So they're going to actually a solar-driven waterfall. I have experience doing this at my house, but they're going to do all the digging and all the work. I'm just going to say, well, maybe you want to do that or that. So they're going to design it themselves, and it ought to be a lot of fun. Next, there's going to be Lego robotics. So we're working on securing funds for that part of our program. The kids are going to learn how to program and then build robots, and then we're going to have a competition where they have to complete certain tasks using different types of sensors. From then, we're going to do an engineering unit where they're going to design popsicle stick bridges, and there's going to be a weight-bearing contest to see who can bear the most weight. They'll all be smashed in the end, but it'll be a lot of fun. We're in the electricity unit. We're going to design and build speakers to run our iPods and our iPhones. The last unit we're going to do is going to be a cardboard regatta. So they're going to make boats out of cardboard, and then we're going to float them across Newark Junior High School pond. Or the pool, and in a competition. So that should be pretty fun. We do have guest speakers coming in that are in STEM careers. I've already had about 12 people that signed on that they would come in and talk to our kids who are in STEM careers, both men and women. And then they're going to be doing a STEM research paper where they're going to research a STEM career, and then they're going to be doing oral presentations for us in class. So we have a lot of cool things planned. I'm pretty excited about it. This has been a new thing for me to do. This is like stepping out of my comfort zone, but it's been a really exciting year. Mark Dieter's been real helpful, and we're using every bit of our prep period and after school, before school, to gather materials, to plan and do what we need to do, but it's been a real exciting year, and hopefully this will then translate to our regular classroom where we can start bringing STEM activities into our classroom too. All right. Do you have any questions at all for any of the students up here? They got all kinds. In fact, we're doing a solar cooker, right? So I get these two guys, Diego and Aaron, they tell me that, Mr. Knight, last night we were Skyping, our group was Skyping, you have 3 in a group. We were Skyping each other to design our solar cookers. Weren't you? You think that's legal? Yes, it is. It's okay. Yeah. So that's what they're actually working. You know, I'm not telling them they have to do this at home, but they're so excited about it. They're Skyping each other, and that's the way scientists work. That's really cool. I just got back from a visit to MIT with my son, and this is how they work at MIT. They work collaboratively. And this is the same kind of things they're doing. I talked to quite a few professors there, and I've got some curriculum I'm going to be sharing with them too. So they're going to be doing some of the latest, greatest stuff too. So I'm really excited about it. And this is the kind of kid that we hope are going to be, well, they're all going to college, but hopefully in a STEM career somewhere. But these are going to be our successful citizens in the future right here. So they all have a little gift for you. So go ahead. That's cool.
Hey, I'm excited about you stepping out of your comfort zone. I was hoping you'd have a picture of that on the screen where you're stepping out. Okay.
Every day I step out. So.
Just so you guys know, a shovel does fit in his hand.
Yes, it does. You got one more? Okay. So that's for you. We had a really nice article written up, so we really appreciate your support and look for continued support. The elective program has been a big success. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Knight. Doing big things. If you guys get a chance, please come out and that's first period in junior high school and see that STEM class. It really is impressive to actually watch kids really just kind of self-learning with Mr. Knight's help with that. So just continuing on, what do we want to be at the junior high school? We want to become a comprehensive junior high school offering a full elective course load. We also want to become a destination school for parents and students in the East Bay. That's our goal. We want to continue to build our rocketry program and compete on the national level. We want to offer 2 to 3 world languages at the junior high school in the near future. And we want to create a STEM academy at the junior high school, which will then feed into a STEM and engineering program at Memorial High School. So that's our goal. And I talked to Mr. Knight about this. He's talked to, was it Chevron, Mr. Knight? You talked to Chevron about? Great. Right, so we're trying to figure out a way to build that connection between the junior high school and also the high school. And so this is our goal. This is where we want to be, and we're working towards it. So I just want to let you know some highlights from the past 3 years at the junior high school. We had the Compassion Network volunteers. They came out to help beautify the junior high school with the paint job we did and the planter boxes and those kind of things. They cleaned up the front of the school, and that was last year in April. We got Wells Fargo to donate 30 new computers to our computer lab just this year. We introduced the Naviance program We have kids talking about college at the junior high school right now, wearing their college shirts to school. We added a new part-time counselor. Thank you once again to the school board for that. We've also added multiple outside counseling agencies to meet the mental health needs of our students and families, and Joy Young helps out tremendously with that as well. Discipline issues have been drastically reduced at the junior high school. It is completely different than it was several years ago. We have real cross-site collaboration between the junior high school and the high school for the first time in years, where teachers actually sit together and actually work and enjoy each other working together on Common Core and moving forward. We've created a collaboration team led by teachers to further our professional development. So we have teachers on our site. That's a collaboration team. They meet with me probably once a week, and they actually are in charge of the professional development at our site, leading their colleagues. Our language arts department has fully implemented Common Core, and they're moving along with that. And I would say pretty much that they're ahead of the game as far as Newark Unified is concerned. We've implemented an after-school tutorial program to help students get their work done. So students who fall below a C at any point in time have to come to this program and get their work done to pull their grades back up. And we got about 96% of the parents to sign up for that, to keep their kids after school if they fall below a C. Our Rocket Club from past year was the only junior high school in Northern California to send a team to the national finals. And we came in 51st out of 100 teams in the nation. And that was fantastic. And I think you all know that Tom Collette won the State Teacher of the Year 2 years ago. So that's 3 years at the junior high school. Actually, not even 3 years, 2 and a quarter. And we're just starting. So Mr. Holbrook, who's our computer teacher, just a quick funny story. Our other computer teacher quit like in July. And we were struggling to try and find a new computer teacher, and I had 3 applications, 2 of which didn't have the credential, and then Mr. Holbrook, who had just moved here from Arizona. And I can just honestly say we're just extremely lucky to have him. He put together this video with the help of some of his students, and part of the goal of the computer class for 8th graders is video journalism, and to kind of create media and stories through journalism, create journalism through the media. So this is a video, essentially it's a day in the life at the junior high school. Please enjoy.
Think about carbon dioxide. Look, what's it doing? Is it rising or sinking down?
Vertical and horizontal. Okay.
Thank you. Questions, comments, suggestions?
Yeah. Any questions, comments by board members?
Great job.
Great job. This was fantastic. And as a former engineer or engineer by background, I'm absolutely delighted with the STEM program. I think to encourage, especially girls, with a program like this is going to make all the difference in the world, because I know how I was encouraged by teachers that I had when I was going through school. Yes, Mr. Rodriguez?
Mr. Neal, thank you. I know you can't give those things away, so just let us know those
I'll
sweaters.
take care of you. Seriously, I got you.
How much it is, and
I got some clout.
we would love to.
I got a little bit of clout, just a little bit.
But this is an excellent presentation, and I know Ms. Thomas is going to ask you to introduce your staff and the parents. But I just had a question on the A to G, because your 8th graders are going to be the first class that when they enter the high school, they're going to be taking all A to G classes. Right. And I know you have a program in place at the junior high to get them ready for that. Can you share that a little bit with us?
Well, I mean, as far as our language arts department has really worked carefully with the language arts department in the high school and our math program as well to kind of get on the same page. So essentially, like the kids are taking algebra and geometry and math, we make sure they take the same final exam, so it's on the same, same course load as well, so that when they step into high school, there's no question about what they've been taught as well. And so, and even with the electives, trying to get high school credit for certain high school level classes, just to keep those students on the A to G path as well. And so that's where we've been, primarily with collaboration, just through the departments, and get them to talk and work together to make sure that our kids are adequately prepared when they step into high school.
Yeah, appreciate that, especially trying to get the junior high kids high school credits for doing something at, at classes they take at the junior high. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And would you have your staff please stand?
Please stand.
And be acknowledged.
Staff, please stand. So we got Mr. Hernandez, our band teacher, Maria Huffer, who's our excellent classified personnel. My right hand, my office manager, Charlene Aquino. My left hand, Barbie Pagan, who's our attendance clerk, who does much more. Our excellent computer teacher, Mr. Holbrook, and our wonderful science department chair and STEM teacher, Mr. Kerry Knight.
Thank you. And if you all want to look at the back wall.
Oh yeah, the back wall, sorry, but our art teacher, Selena Chavez, is incredible. You need to really come and visit her classroom and see the work that she does with those kids, the things that they create. I didn't even know they created some of this stuff. It was just really amazing to see this work that she's doing over there.
Wonderful.
This is all student created work. So
wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Definitely. That it? Thanks. Thank you.
If I just had one quick, just one quick thing. I was just going to give you a hint. When you do the regatta in the pool, you need a lifeguard. We found out this the hard way. Is Mr. Liang does it every year, and the first year he did it, they called me to come down and be the lifeguard because they needed somebody who was trained. Because obviously, when kids get in the pool, just tell me ahead of time. If he's there, that's great.
But Charlie, if you want to volunteer, you come on down.
I'm not certified anymore, but I'll come down.
Put your speedo on. You hang out.
A lot of fun. You can all come down. Thank you, Mr. Neal.
Mr. Neal, when we visit your school, you're on board members, and we always feel welcome. And when we walk into the office, everybody's smiling, and it's just a pleasure to go in there. Make sure we have our little sticker.
Of course. I saw Charlene and Barbie right there.
Right.
On top of things. Yeah, definitely.
It's great.
Like I said, you guys are always welcome. E-cabinet members as well. Just come on by. I mean, I'm welcoming people constantly. And like just on another note, one thing we're starting this year, November 15th, I'm doing, actually once a month, I'm doing coffee with the principal for my junior high school parents to just come and talk and ask questions. But I'm also starting coffee with the principal for elementary parents. On November 15th is the first one. They can come and just ask questions, find out what's going on.
Because junior high is a gem, and people at the K-6 level need to know that.
So all the elementary principals have put that in their newsletters to inform their parents. So that's the first one's on the 15th of November. If you want to stop by,
At what time?
8:30. It'll be in the library. I have to buy a bunch of coffee, but it's all right. I'll make it. It'll be worth it in the long run. So, if you want to buy coffee, let me know. You give me that look like I got it. That's what that look was. My bad. Sorry.
No, that look was you're going to be there. No.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
Thank you. Okay, Superintendent, announcements?
Yes, thank you, Vice President Thomas. Just a few announcements. I'm continuing the school site visits, so I just want to let the board know that this Thursday I will be going to Newark Memorial High School at 8:30, so you're certainly welcome to join me. Next week, Snow Elementary will be Tuesday the 12th, November 12th. Bunker is Wednesday the 13th. And then Kennedy Elementary will be the following Monday, the 18th of November.
These are all at 8:30?
Yes, all at 8:30. Also, there is a celebration for Mario and George at the McGregor campus on Thursday at 1:30. If you are able to join us there, we would greatly appreciate it and welcome you to be there. And also Monday is a Veterans holiday, no students and staff, but I would like to certainly thank all of our active duty, military, and veterans for their current and past service to our country, and hope everyone has a very safe Veterans holiday. I'd like to acknowledge my administrative assistant, Liz Warren, who put together the proclamation kind of at a very last minute and pulled that together and pulled the whole celebration together on top of Friday updates, board agendas, and just trying to run the rest of the school district. So I want to acknowledge her and thank her. And also on Friday, November 15th, we will be having a Special Olympics. This will be held at American High School. This will be for secondary students from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And I want to personally thank Nanette Gray, who organized all of this at her previous school district and was one of the first things that she brought here. She got the rest of the SELPA involved, and we will be starting at the secondary level Friday the 15th, 9 to 1 at American High School. Newark has, I think, an excess of 50 students participating. So we anticipate a great start to an annual event for Special Olympics. So that is my report.
Thank you, Superintendent. Next, we move on to staff reports. Our security camera report with Larry Simon from the IT department and Jenny Rios from Veneer Construction.
Hello. Just have a brief update on the security cameras. We had a successful bid, and we have identified, we worked with staff administration. I think Larry did most of the meeting on camera locations, but we were able to identify 42 camera locations at the junior high school and 61 camera locations at the high school. There are school front, the entry and driveways that will be covered. These are maps showing the various locations at the junior high and the high school.
And just to, I know Jenny already said it, but these were all, we sat down for a very long time with administrators at both schools and came up with what the necessary areas they wanted covered were. So this isn't just something we came up with. This is something that the administrators at both sites had a lot of input on. I mean, basically all the input on where these locations should be.
So the bid, the contract for this work is up on tonight's agenda, and we just wanted to make ourselves available if you had any questions.
Thank you. Any questions? Yes, Mr. Mensinger?
Yes, appreciate all the work. There did look like there was some
some void spots in the camera. Do we have 100% coverage, or?
I mean, if you ask me if every corner of every crevice is covered, I mean.
No,
yeah.
You're right. I couldn't ask for that.
Yeah.
So let me yeah, fair point. But let me ask the question differently. There were some that were like, it looked like long hallways. There was one at a far end of the hallway and nothing at the other end. So if, do these cameras have, is the resolution quality good enough that we can, if something happened in a far end of a hallway or in a distance, that we could get a good identification, a good picture of a person?
So I have a couple answers to that. One is that we're not.
Actually, yes would be the best answer, but.
Well, yes,
okay.
And a further explanation of
okay,
that.
There we go.
So you're not actually going to know exactly how the cameras perform until you have them installed. So the good thing to that is we picked a vendor who we believe it has been very, very straightforward in the process, and is, if we need to add cameras, we have a really clear idea on what it'll cost us and how things will go. But we put a lot of effort into the planning, making sure the field of view was acceptable, so we get a reasonable level of quality in all the problem areas they identified.
Okay, perfect. So after the system is installed, then you'll do some sort of walkthrough and you'll identify if there is any really bad areas or something.
Both during and after, yes.
Okay, perfect. Just one question on your comment. You won't know the resolution until they're installed.
No, we'll know the resolution. The resolution on all these cameras is 1080p. So, I mean, I don't know exactly how the light will affect the picture until the camera's installed and you look at it, because looking at the cameras we have today are nothing like the ones that'll get installed in the future. So I can't predict exactly how the lighting conditions or how, maybe the cameras will affect the way activities happen on the campus, and then we'll have to reevaluate, rebalance. So that we've done as much effort as we can. We've put as much work in with the school side to figure out what we think are the best locations based on the quality of these cameras and the kind of coverage they need. But if we need to add or change something, we don't believe it'll present a huge issue to us either. But we think this plan is very concrete to what we'll see in the final system.
Okay, and then before when you spoke to us, you talked about motion-sensitive cameras. Were there going to be some of those as well? And
all of these cameras have the ability to do like motion sensing, field sensing. They all come with that feature.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Stadler?
Thanks.
We rushed through that picture so fast of the high school.
Yeah.
Do we have that parking lot covered?
Yes. So you'll notice right now there are 4 cameras on the parking lot. That was one of the things we've been talking to in the very recent time with a couple of the administrators. We may add a few more, 2 or 3 more, to the parking lot.
Do we have a license plate camera?
There is a license plate camera at the entrance to the parking lot right there. It's a camera that has to be trenched to and be installed. But there's one at the main entrance to the student parking lot.
One other question. Have we covered any of the roofs? Because again, this weekend, we had students on top of the roofs that the police chased away, but they're breaking in through the roofs. Have we got any roofs covered?
I'll be honest, no. That's not something the school administrators identified as a problem area. I think a problem you'd have there is you'd end up putting a lot of cameras on the roofs, because the problem at that point is really, you got to be able to recognize a face, right? And with any camera, there's a certain distance to where that becomes impossible. So, I'm sorry.
I think it makes a lot of sense to have the system installed and then reassess if we need to add or modify.
Thank you.
And we're very comfortable with our options on that.
Thank you.
We have a very solid, reputable vendor that we feel very comfortable with, and if we need to add or modify, we can do that.
Thank you.
So I have a question now. What is the schedule for getting these installed?
So I'm happy to, with the Wi-Fi that's being installed, Larry and I have been working very closely on the schedule. We hope that will be done over the winter break, and the cameras will follow subsequent to that. And we're looking at a start of mid-January, and it'll probably take about 2 months to complete.
Good, thank you. Mr. Rodriguez?
Thank you for the report. I still can't believe this is happening.
I should also say we're prioritizing the junior high and the high school. Obviously, we have the elementary schools, but we are prioritizing these two.
Yeah, we appreciate that. I just, my question was on the, you know, once you get it started, how did you get staff involved in inputting?
So the bulk of that, and there were obviously some phone calls after the fact and things like that. The bulk of that for the high school happened in like a 4-hour meeting. So what we did ahead of time is we first went out. We had a couple of meetings with them to identify, you know, areas where they wanted coverage in the school. We went around, we took video pictures, everything on all the possible locations, and we sat down with them for, you know, a full day meeting to figure out exactly the areas that they have problems with incidents on campus and where they want coverage on the maps. So that's how we identified that.
Did that include the SRO? I'm sure
Yes.
it did. Right.
Yeah, all the APs and the SROs and the principal, of course.
Okay, great. Thank
Oh,
you.
one last question. Were you surprised by the wide range of bids that came in?
I wasn't too surprised. We did a site walk, and we had a lot of questions addressed. This particular vendor has quite a lot of experience, and I've worked with them in the past in a different district. So I feel like the spec was very clear, and we got great bids, and I felt very comfortable with them.
Thank you. Okay. It's 8:30. Do we have any cards for anyone that wishes to speak to the board on non-agenda items? Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the board on non-agenda items? Seeing none, we will move on to the consent agenda. Consent agenda A is personnel items.
Move to approve item A1, personnel reports.
Second.
Please vote.
Push the button.
4 ayes. Thank you.
Vice President Thomas, if I could, after that vote, if I could maybe just introduce Mr. Simon again officially, if I may. This evening, the board confirmed my appointment of Mr. Larry Simon as the district's IT network manager. Larry has worked with Newark since 2007, where he started as a senior lab technician at Bunker. In May of 2008, he became an IT tech in our IT department. However, Larry's association with the school district goes back farther than his employment. He's a product of Newark schools. And during this past year, Larry has shown outstanding leadership as we have worked to upgrade our IT infrastructure. His knowledge and skills go far beyond his years. His out-of-the-box thinking has provided great financial savings to Newark Unified School District. With Common Core just around the corner and the necessity for every student to have an online assessment, this is a very, very important move in building our technology department, and we are very happy to promote Larry to be part of the leadership team in Newark.
Congratulations, Larry. We're fortunate and lucky to have you. Congratulations.
Thank you guys for the opportunity. I really look forward to working with you guys on that.
Thank
like
you.
we are already.
Yes, absolutely. Next, we move on to non-personnel items. Does anyone from the board want to pull any item? Would
Move to approve items B1 through B4.
Second.
please vote. 5 ayes. Member Crocker absent. Does any board member have any comments on the consent calendar items? Next, we move on to employee organizations. We have CSEA. I know. Thank you for being here every time and for waiting till late in the evening sometimes.
That's fine. Good evening, Vice President Thomas and board members and Dr. Markin and staff. Welcome to daylight savings. I don't know about you guys, but I can't seem to sleep past 3 o'clock. Anyway, I just wanted to say tonight that today is election day. And although Newark is pretty quiet on anything that's going on, CSEA is working real hard to elect a lot of the school board members throughout California. And hopefully we'll hear some good news pretty soon. And the only other thing I have to say is that we are still working on negotiations and don't know how much longer it'll take, but we're still in process. So thank you and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you very much. And next we move on to old business. Old business A is board policy and administrative regulations for high school graduation requirements. Would
Move that we approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Please vote. 5 ayes, Member Crocker absent. We move on to B, Board Policy and Administrative Regulations, Certificate of Proficiency High School Equivalency.
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Please vote. 5 ayes, Member Crocker absent. Board Policy and Administrative Regulation, Item C, Reciprocity of Academic Credit.
Second.
Please vote. 5 ayes. Item D, Board Policy Differential Graduation and Competency. Board Policy 6146.4.
Move to approve.
Second. Second, okay. Please vote.
Oops. I hit the button.
5 ayes. Okay, under new business item A, a request to reclassify the administrative secretary position to an assessment technician. Did we have anyone that wants to, okay, Mr. Sadler.
Yeah, on this reclassify, you know, we're going through negotiations right now. A lot of our staff has taken on new jobs. There are certain people that have taken on 3 new positions and lost 1 month of work. There's other people that are secretaries that have taken on 2 positions. And I think that this right now is a little ahead of time.
Okay. Mr. Mensinger?
Yeah, about a year ago, maybe it was longer. I never am very good with time. But I had suggested that we look at each department and collectively determine, because we've made so many cuts in the past, you know, and we may have an abundance of resources some places. I doubt that, but really short in some areas, and we're certainly short in some real technical areas, you know, for example, in the business office, we need, we could use some people, and MOT, I think, given the number of work orders and some of the work that we're creating, we probably need some help in that area too. And I think that while what this has done for me is re-sparked the notion that we should be looking at all of our resources and all of our resource allocations across all departments. And I think what I'd rather do than approve something tonight is look at what we have, look at what we need, and then come back with a whole organizational, a relook at our whole organization. I mean, an overhaul. Dr. Markin used to show a little slide all the time of the positions that were here and then weren't here, or the ones that he had to fill, and it was this just horrific visual of the state of the openings and the hiring and pretty much how we decimated our staff when we had to cut. But we've started to bring back things like electives. We've started to bring back a lot of things supporting
classrooms. I think maybe the organizations, the administrative side, we need to maybe take a look at that. And so I would rather than looking at two specific positions, look at the whole, the district as a whole, and have Dr. Markin present a whole, maybe a whole resource allocation where maybe we move certain positions into other departments, or move things around in a way that makes sense instead of doing them one at a time, because we always seem to get lost when we do them one at a time.
Mr. Rodriguez, do you have any comments?
Yes, actually on both of these. Both of these are ed services, and I also remember us asking staff to look at reorganization, and Celeste, I really appreciate you doing this. I'm ready to move on this. I too, like Member Mensinger, would like to see, other restructuring come forward. But to wait until you have a whole thing, to me, it's just anti-productive. I'd just rather go by staff recommendation and move with these. I had a question, though, on the financial part. Mrs. Nielsen, if you can answer. It's gifts and amount plus benefits. So would that be an extra maybe 10% for benefits? Is that basically, or do we actually have a figure?
I did figure out the dollar amount. I don't know if that was included in here, but it was, the dollar amount was included. Okay.
Okay.
That
so that includes benefits then?
Includes benefits.
Okay.
Dr. Markin?
Yeah, I would just say this is a recommendation from myself and Executive Cabinet, and this is irrespective of bringing to the board an entire organizational look. That is in the process, that is in the works. For this particular piece, we have Common Core and the necessity to have online assessments in 12 months. And I think given the fact that our Ed Services Department, which is quite frankly our lifeblood, we are about education. And that department has seen a chief academic officer gone. We had Joan, who is no longer there. We have Chicky, who is no longer there. We had Hikate, who is no longer there. The department is being held up by Celeste and by Debbie and by Miranda and by Chris Herrera. And they're probably at about 50% or 40% of where they were even 3 years ago. And they're doing an unbelievable job. This has nothing to do with bringing to the board all of the departments. That's subsequent. This is getting our technicians and our technology moving toward Common Core and getting the data that our principals and that our teachers need, and not having Dr. Hilberg, Mrs. Ashmore, doing the technical legwork of the data crunching. So that's all I would provide in some level of clarification. Obviously, it's the board's decision, but I think that would be, I'd be afraid we'd be cutting off our nose to spite our face, because I absolutely intend to bring an organizational with not only people, but programs and operations.
I'd like to speak next, and then I'll get back to you. Okay, Mr. Stadler. I spent quite a bit of time speaking with Ms. Hilberg. We discussed the inordinate, like Dr. Markin said, amount of work that has to be done with assessment. It's been ramping up over the years, and now it's ramped up quite a bit. We talked about the skill set that's needed for these two positions, so I'll talk in terms of both of the positions. We decimated our staffing in Ed Services when we lost our funding about 3 or 4 years ago, and so it's put such a burden, I think, on everyone else in the department. So the reclassification and really I think it's necessary to replace the open position that hasn't been refilled also for student services technician. And I think that Ms. Hilberg, Dr. Hilberg has a wonderful analysis that and evaluation that she's put together, you know, so this is almost like an opportunity to restructure the department based on the emerging needs of ed services. So I'm inclined to say yes. Let's start. And we just did this with IT, didn't we? We just restructured IT and created a new position in IT. And this is almost like just restructuring what we've already had in the past. So, Mr. Sadler.
You know, we've decimated a lot of departments. We've decimated we've decimated special ed. You know, we have people in there that have been working doing 3 positions and losing, you know, we've decimated our executive secretaries. They're doing 2 positions. What is this showing to everybody else that we've taken away and decimated those and not looking at those? I mean, that's my feeling.
Yes, yeah. Mr. Mensinger.
Couple of questions. Is this an increase in headcount?
I don't know what that. What do you mean by that?
Are we adding people?
No, we'd have
so
to
we're
add 2
promoting.
more to. So we're get back to where we were. Even.
Oh,
2 years
no. I'm sorry. From where we are today, is it an additional headcount? No. So what is this? Are we promoting 2 people or?
Well, Celeste, did you want to address that?
It's actually, we have 2 positions. One is administrative secretary and the other one is a secretary 3. And basically, those 2 positions require a great deal of not only technical expertise, as folks have mentioned, but also a great deal of technical knowledge about specific content areas, things that have to do with ed code, reporting, designation of student status, this kind of thing. No, they're both just reclassifying 2 positions. One happens to be empty, and I actually left that position empty. I haven't advertised for it. We've been filling it with some temporary clerical help, but we've left it open because we knew that we wanted to reclassify this position so that we could bring in some people with some really strong technology skills, because we know that not only is that what we need within our department, but we feel strongly that our district needs to bring up the skill level of many of our staff members. And so the hope is that by increasing the level within educational services, that we can expand that to other departments as well by possibly and hopefully putting on trainings.
Okay, so as I understand what you said, it's an increase of headcount of 1 because you have a vacant position now and you'd be adding a person. The second position is a promotion for somebody who's already in the position. Do I have this right now?
What's a reclassification?
You're correct in that one position would be a promotion or a reclass.
Yeah.
The other position is already in the budget. It's not currently filled, but it's in the budget, and it would be advertised then at the higher rate. So in the end, it'll still be a head count of 2.
Okay, all right, so I see. So you have one that's in the budget, you're just going to fill it. And instead of filling it at its own old position, you want to fill it at a new position. Got it. Okay, and both the positions will be posted or one of the positions will be posted?
One of the positions will be posted.
Okay, so we're not posting the second one?
Right, because the idea is not to create an additional head count.
Well, if we're increasing the, okay, if we're saying that there's a certain job classification, there's 2 job classifications, and we're now going to change the 2 job classifications, we're not going to post both of them, we're just going to appoint one and then post the second one and hire the second.
Right, because the one is an internal reclass. The other, because it's vacant, has to be posted.
Okay. Well, you could post them both, I suppose, but that's not what you're recommending.
Okay.
Well, you're not
Mr.
recommending
Rodriguez.
anything now. Okay.
Yeah, technically you. technically you could post them both. I don't consider it a promotion. I see as a person that's already been doing the job, and what we're doing is kind of putting in words what the person's been doing already, and making it to where it's actually states what she's doing, and so we're just changing basically the job title. That's the way I look at it. So it's not an increase, and it looks like she's going to be doing additional stuff, and that's where the extra pay comes from, I would imagine. So, no, I just say let's do it.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Sadler.
I got one more comment. This is the thing. We're adding some jobs to this person. So we're going to reclassify her job. We've added jobs to a lot of people that we haven't reclassified their jobs. This is what I'm saying.
But that's what Dr. Markin's going to come back.
When?
Well,
I mean,
that's what
why
Dr.
is this one?
Well, you got to start somewhere, and then everything else will vote.
Well, the only concern that I would have is that, I don't want this to be a race where the first department gets, and then, gets what they want, next department, and then suddenly by the time someone gets around to, we don't have any money left, or we don't have any, that was my concern, is this is going to have an overall effect on the budget, because the money's coming from the general fund to pay for the position. Okay, so if it's coming from the general fund, then it's, that means it's money we're not spending somewhere else, but that's fine, because we're looking at the whole district. We want to reward, or we want to be able to, we've had some tough times, and now we want to go back and make sure that we take care of a lot of departments. Now I understand Dr. Markin said what we have a priority now. That's what you said, basically. We need to do it now. Before you come back with an organization. So
Well, the only thing I would add to that is when we bring back the entire organization, that's exactly what the board's going to have to do anyway. I mean, the board thinks for a minute that, okay, well, all of these positions, we're going to have to come with some level of priority, and they're going to have to be laid out over 1, 2, 3, or 4 years anyway, because we're not going to be able to do everything that we're going to bring when we bring people, and not just replacing positions, but some of the new positions based on Common Core and some of those things. So at some level, that's going to be done by default anyhow.
Dr. Hilbert?
Thank you. I just wanted to add one other thing, that Educational Services as a group has been, or as a department has been reorganized a number of times over the last few years. And I was able to slip into a new position as Director of Curriculum, Instruction, and Accountability because I knew the assessment and accountability piece so well. But I knew that it was unlikely that anyone else could slip into that job and essentially be doing two jobs. And so right now we have Mrs. Ashmore in that position, and so I have been wanting to create this technician to support her in her new role as Director of Curriculum and Instruction and Accountability, because it's really combining what many districts have as a Director of Curriculum and Instruction and a Director of Assessment and Accountability. And so I feel that that position needs this support.
Okay, so one last thing. What we're approving tonight is job descriptions. We're not approving any filling of those positions. And then later on a personnel action, they'll come back with a recommended, with a person and then a, how do you say it, a category or the level where they fit in. Right. And at that point, we can talk about.
We're actually filling it, right?
No.
We're actually voting to fill one of these tonight to reclassify it and make one position. Yes.
No.
Right? Tim?
You're approving the job descriptions tonight.
Right.
The personnel action would be in a subsequent personnel PAL.
Okay, are we ready for a motion?
Yeah, I move that we accept new business item A.
Is there a second?
A second.
Okay, please vote.
Oh, sorry, that was my job.
Okay. Okay, we have 4 ayes and 1 nay. The motion carries. Okay, we did kind of get into a discussion about B, reclassify the Secretary 3 position to that of Student Services Technician. Is there any further discussion?
I move for discussion that we accept item B as staff recommendation.
Second, for discussion.
Second, okay.
Okay, you ready for my discussion?
Well, press your button and I'll call on you.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, Mr. Rodriguez.
Okay. Now, this is a little different to me because there's nobody in there now. So, and it gave the additional cost, but it didn't, you know, I didn't see where the actual cost was, for that particular position. Which is, it's been vacant for a year now, I think?
No, it's been vacant since July 1st.
Okay.
So we do have savings from July 1st
So
a
now-
year. So there will be no additional cost to the budget because we have the savings.
For this year.
Yeah, but what's the position itself? What's the annual on the position? Anybody know?
Off the top of my head, I don't remember. I'm
Is that
sorry.
in the,
Is it in there? I didn't.
it's in the summary, isn't it?
Okay. No, I just saw the increase in the summary. I didn't see the actual.
I missed that completely. so.
For this year, there would be no additional
No, I mean,
adjustment
the
to
position
budget.
itself has a.
Has a range, I don't.
But it's in the
remember.
budget, isn't it? It
Yes,
is
it
in the
It's already
budget.
in the
It is
budget.
in the
Okay, that's
budget.
fine. Maybe you can, in the Friday update, you can, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So this position, will support, Ms. Ashmore, is that, or is that the other position?
This position will support pupil services, and we have been, because it's expanded greatly in the last couple of years since Dr. Markin has been here, to include a lot of proactive services, namely those provided by Joy Young and many of the other let's say, social services that have come to our district in the last couple of years. They fall now under pupil services. We're referring to that work as student development, which encompasses pupils, what we previously referred to as pupil services, along with all of the new programs that we've been bringing.
So is this a position that Ms. Acarisi had before?
Yes, it is.
Okay, good. That clears it a little bit for me. Thank you.
Wasn't that a secretary too at that time? There wasn't a...
Sorry about that. That's correct. It was a Secretary 2, and then it was reclassified to a Secretary 3, at which point Chicky Kappa.
Is it reclassified as a, we are reclassifying it to a 3 right now, correct? It's at a 2 right now.
No, it's at a 3 currently. It's Secretary 3, and we're modifying that, or reclassifying that to a technician.
Okay. So I have a question to Mr. Irwin on this one. What's going to be the process on this after we do the job description? Are we going to go out on this one, or do we have somebody in-house that we're thinking about, or?
No, this position would be posted inside first, and then we'll see what happens, and then if it has to go outside, it would go outside.
Right.
Just as a clarification, Member Stadler, the position was originally an administrative secretary position, then it went to a staff secretary 3, and now it's being reclassed to the student services technician.
Okay, I just want to make it clear, the one thing that I have a problem with is all of our workers that are doing extra jobs. And I just really don't want to send a message out there that we're not supporting all of them. And it just bothers me that we've got a lot of people doing a lot of jobs. And that's one of the things that's really bothering me.
Okay, could I say something? And
Yeah,
then,
go ahead.
Then I'll call on Mr. Mensinger. In our discussion today, you were talking about the skill level of this position, and that it's your hope that we can get someone that has the strong technical and analytical skills that would be someone that would have a bachelor's degree. Is that right? And the pay range is such that we could probably attract someone that has strong skills, you know, as evidenced by getting a higher, degree.
Well, we would not make that a requirement, but I do think that with a slightly higher salary that this has, I think we have a great potential of attracting someone who has strong technology skills. I want to go beyond basic technology. I would like someone who can go into databases, who can export data, who can merge files for us, who can put together the graphs that we need, who can put together the PowerPoint presentations that we need so that we're not doing all of that legwork ourselves, which is incredibly time consuming. And the previous position, which was the technician for assessment, would be doing that with all of our student achievement data, the many, many forms of achievement data that we have. And I see this one is doing it with all of our other types of student data, which is very rich, attendance data, suspension and expulsion data, just all kinds of other data that we have that we seldom have an opportunity to pull and look at to find out how it can benefit the action plans that we're deriving and the plans that we're making.
So, Mr. Mensinger and then Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes, so the pay rate or the difference that was in the summary, that's a projection. It depends on the qualifications of the person and it's the same with the one before that too. We're not necessarily making an offer of a certain pay rate. It can be whatever is negotiated, right?
Those positions fall within classifications, which then have ranges. The number that was represented in the summary is the difference of the increase from a staff 3 to the student service technician. The difference in, I believe it was going from a 49 to a 54. Yeah, thanks. And so that number in the summary represented what is that change.
Okay.
Likewise, in the other one, it represented the change of going from its current location to the proposed location.
Mr.
There was just one more quick question, and it was something that you had mentioned, and it's something that I had in my notes that I forgot to mention when I sent my oops email to Dr. Hilbert today when I forgot a couple of things. You mentioned education, and it's not in there that we would like that potentially we would like someone with a bachelor's degree, but we don't have to require it, but it would be nice if it said preferred, a degree preferred of some sort in there. And that way, maybe not for this hire, but the next hire down the road, and actually in both of them, a bachelor's preferred or an AA preferred. It doesn't really change who you have in mind now, but it may down the road.
I agree. Good point.
Thank you.
Mr. Rodriguez?
I don't agree.
It's because we wouldn't hire you.
I don't mind having bachelor's preferred, but equal experience to me would equate that. That's
why it's preferred. It's not a requirement.
Okay, because you might have somebody that with 20 years in experience that would be a lot better than hiring somebody just out of college. It's just my own opinion.
Sure.
Now, I had a question on the savings part, Mrs. Nielsen. Are we having a sub do that work now, or Mrs. or Celeste?
We have a sub on a time card, but not every day.
Right.
So there is a savings.
So the savings would be the salary plus benefits, and then the sub, naturally, there'll be no benefits. Okay. So, Mr. Irwin, are we looking at by January or, with the whole process since it's November? As far as going out and getting somebody in there?
There
aren't too many people available at this time. That's my...
Right. The posting periods are 5 days inside, and then we have to see who applies from there, and if it had to go outside, then that makes it a little bit longer. January, my guess would be, is at the far end of that timeline.
Okay, great.
Obviously holiday.
Okay, for the reclassifying to the technician, The reason being is you think we're going to get a better person as a technician than we do as a secretary 3. Is that what I'm taking here? I mean, or is it because we're taking on new jobs?
Well, we have expanded the description of that position greatly since it was last filled. And actually, just to give a little bit more history, the position that was formerly filled by Chicky Kappa, which was the Secretary 3, is that correct? We had actually collapsed 2 positions into that one position, which was the one that had an administrative assistant position that was filled by Joan Carter, with the position that had been filled by who was prior to Chicky? I'm not remembering. Was it Sandy Accarisi?
Sandy, yeah.
Yeah, it was Sandy. So we collapsed those 2 positions into that one position. But so we've added a considerable number of duties to that job. In addition, we have since added a great deal of responsibilities to support Mr. Witten as we've expanded his role to now include also some preventative or additional supplementary programs that are now coming in, social service programs. So it's expanded greatly. First it was 2 positions collapsed and now it's expanded, but we've never had somebody in that position who could really do the kind of work that we're hoping to get. Possibly Chicky could have, actually Chicky would have been great if she had stuck around, who could really pull data for us so that we can look at, where are we seeing those student absences and, where are we seeing those expulsions? And are there differences between sites? Are there differences between ethnicities? We really want someone who can be very skilled in pulling our data and presenting it to us so that it can then be a better tool for us in our planning. So we want that position to be greatly expanded over even what it was previously.
Okay, are we at a point where we can get I don't know that we've had, did we have a motion and a second? Okay. Please vote. Okay, we have 3 ayes and Mr. Stadler is a no and Jan Crocker is absent.
Can I just comment after, since, sometimes, the ones that voted and the ones that didn't vote for it get an opportunity. Member Stadler had talked about special ed and different organizations, so I am hopefully looking for other positions to come forward that, so we can get back on, where we should be.
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I agree.
I'm not so much turning down the position as I am all our other employees that have been doing additional jobs that we've decimated their departments. They've got, I had a problem.
Okay. Now, item C is board policies and administrative regulations quarterly updates. These are the ones that are dictated by the change in ed code and such, and recommended by the California School Boards Association. Because they're listed all under this item C, I assume that we are being asked to take them as one motion. That's correct.
And I second.
Second. Please vote. 4 ayes. Thank you. And next, we have not discussed student expulsions. We are going to be going into closed session, so we will go into closed session and come out and report after closed session.
Can we do the reports first? Can they do that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely, yes. I'm just saying that the 20XX is being delayed until we come back from closed session, which we will do after reports. And so I will begin with Mr. Stadler.
Well, this past, I guess it was last week, Dr. Markin and I went over to Bridgepoint and had a tour, and man, what a difference. This place has turned around. The students love it. They're talking about college. They're telling me they're getting A's, they're getting B's, they're passing. The plans for this school,
This is going to be exceptional. I mean, this thing is, it's going to be something to be talked about. Also, Ray and I went to the high school, the junior high. Well, we went to the junior high first. I'll let you tell about high school. On Halloween. And wow, what a day they had. They had pumpkin carving, they had mummy wrapping, with toilet paper wrapping teachers. They had a taco truck. It was fantastic. I've never seen that campus like that. Everybody happy, everybody. It was great. And what an exceptional job they did.
Thank you.
So.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you. Hello. We had an excellent visit at the high school and enjoyed visiting with some of the students that were there and just seeing everything what was happening there. I got a chance to go into the Career Center, and there was a gentleman there that was representing UConn, and he had been in the area for 2 or 3 months, and the kids just, most of the ones around him were girls. It didn't hurt that he was, good looking, I guess. But he was able to get a lot of interest on kids that want to go to college, and so I like to thank Stephanie and everybody in the Career Center for bringing these individuals in from different colleges to talk to our kids. At the junior high school, it was Halloween, and I came dressed as an insurance agent, and Gary came as a beach boy, okay, because he had his shorts on and stuff like that. But it was nice. Everybody was had their little costumes, and as usual, and you could tell by the report, the spotlight from the junior high school. There's great things happening over there, as there are in all our sites. On the special ed front, Dr. Markin already talked about the Special Olympics. This is very exciting for us, and the first one is going to be at my daughter's school, American High School, and that'll be the soccer, and we're going to be going, and then the next one next year will be at the high school. We lost our SELPA director. She went to San Ramon Valley Unified School District, and so we're going to be looking to replace her at some point. Judith gave so many years to not only being the special ed director in Fremont, but also SELPA, and so we're going to miss her, but I'm confident that we'll find somebody, and I guess you can talk about ROP.
Okay.
Oh, no, that's about it. Thank you. Oh, one more thing. There was Mr. Dennis and I were assigned a committee, and the investigation is over. He's finished, and I'm waiting for him to give me the wording so I can actually report out on it, which is what we're supposed to do when we have committees. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mensinger.
Yeah, a couple of items. First of all, we had a joint youth task force meeting, and the proposal that Dr. Hilberg put together was approved by the joint youth task force, and it comes with about $8,600. Is that what it is? Something like that. Yeah, which will cover most of the costs for a program on bullying at the junior high, and then in a program also at Schilling. Did I get that right? Okay. And so we're also looking at additional funding to do some things at some of the other schools as well, but at least, we've got a little bit of money to do some things, and Dr. Hilberg came through with a nice proposal, and it met all the criteria, so we get a little bit of money to support some of these programs, so that's a good thing. I had made a couple of requests using our form to staff. One of them was on to set up something on the total number of work orders and the work that we're doing and the prioritizations, and just trying to get our arms around, as a board, all the work that's going on. We hear a lot of complaints and we hear a lot of things going on, and we see things like the brand new tile that was put in at the high school actually coming up, and things like that. And some of the bathrooms, we hear about bathrooms not working, things like that. And we just kind of want to get our arms around this and the whole resource allocation. I mean, do we have enough people? Are they have this avalanche of work, and there's no way to fight out of this. And I think maybe with a little bit of a spotlight on this, we can help out in terms of at least making helping with some resolution, maybe adding people if we need to add people. That was part of my my comments earlier, especially on things like that really needed. We talked about this in our workshop, but the gopher holes. I mean, 7 knee surgeries for football players this year because of tripping in holes. You go out to the baseball field and it has waves in it. And I'm concerned about student athletes getting hurt. Having had one knee surgery, and it looks like imminently I'm going to have another one here. I can empathize with these kids. So these are things that we need to look at and how to resolve and where can we help out in this whole process. There was one other thing. I have a bullet here with nothing next to it, and I can't think of what it is. And if I think of it, I'll jump in like I always do. But until then, I'll pass the gauntlet.
Okay, thank you. Regarding ROP, I really would like to thank Mr. Stadler and Mr. Rodriguez for attending the open house, and Dr. Markin and our high school principal. I had another conflict, so I couldn't be there, but Newark was well represented. Thank you very much. And Mayor Nagy was there, yeah. We have riches in the budget, one-time extra money, and I really appreciate that our new superintendent is collaborating with our superintendent in Fremont and New Haven's on projects that are one-time or startup funds for programs that we'd like to either reinstate or create. And maybe, Dr. Markin, would you mind just saying a few words about your discussions with
in terms of program?
In terms of change money that's going to be spent at Newark if it's approved, the culinary program?
Sure, I'd be happy to. We've been in several actually lengthy conversations with ROP and have expressed a very strong desire to do a couple things. Number one, get more of our students at the Mission Valley ROP campus. Number two, have more classes at Bridgepoint and Newark Memorial High School. And to that end, we are in discussions about it, and the superintendent of ROP, Tom Hansen, will be presenting to the board. I believe it's the next board meeting. We are looking at adding a Homeland Security class, Police Services Homeland Security at Newark Memorial High School.
I could teach that.
We are looking at
yes, you could.
Adding a potential culinary arts academy at Bridgepoint for exclusively our Bridgepoint population. The ROP would pay for the teacher and for the setup, and advancing our current culinary arts program, which is outstanding at Newark Memorial High School, and infusing that with more technology and more equipment. So we are making strides to increase our student opportunities and work in conjunction with ROP, and we're very, very appreciative of their support.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I had the opportunity to attend a CIF meeting. I'm one of the delegates from the California School Boards Association, and there are two big issues that they're in discussions about. One is limiting practice times for sports, and that's going to be covered again at the CSBA meeting in December that I'm going to, so we'll be talking more about that, and they'll be talking about it at their next meeting in February or end of January. And then there's also a whole issue about playing a club sport at the same time you're playing your own sport. So therefore, you know, there's a lot of controversy around that. Right now, it's already authorized for some sports, primarily individual sports, but for some of our team sports, depending on, for example, if you're a soccer player, you can be in a club sport in the spring because it's not concurrent with the high school's soccer schedule, and therefore, but if it is concurrent, you can't. So there's a lot of discussion about opening that up and allowing concurrent enrollment in both the high school and the club sport. So I'll keep you posted on that. We'll be getting a report from the meeting. The other thing we talked about before we go back into closed session was our desire maybe to schedule a meeting to discuss negotiations. We don't have to post those meetings, but is there a time that we can tentatively agree on? Superintendent can't make it next Tuesday if we were to do it next Tuesday.
Well, my schedule doesn't permit that, but if I know now, I can work at rearranging my schedule.
Was it negotiations or was it another?
It was
negotiations.
And potentially something else.
If it's potentially something else, we can post it as a special meeting with 24 hours notice. So 6 o'clock next Tuesday.
Yes, 6 o'clock.
Ms. Warren, could you please make a note of that, and I'll talk to you about whether we add agenda items or we'd have to post it. But for now, it's.
I did remember what I wanted to mention too.
Okay, what did you want to add?
Okay, two quick items.
We have to, 6 to 7, by the way.
Okay.
No more than one.
Two quick items. First of all, the walkathon was an amazing event at the high school. Mr. Stadler and I flipped burgers, and Mr. Rodriguez was management, because wherever there's labor, there must be management.
And I came, but after everyone had left.
Oh, we missed you. The second thing that I wanted to mention, though, is I've sent a note to the high school, but I just wanted to mention it here, that as an alumni with St. Mary's College, I've signed up for a thing that they have going on, where if they use my name, they get the admission fee, or the admission fee is waived, and they get priority admissions. Well, they review their applications, so they get priority applications, and then the fee is removed. So this is only good through November 15th, and I've sent emails to the high school to let them know, but just wanted to let you guys know, because I've made this available to any senior who wants to do it. All they have to do, and I think they even have the website. I don't even know if they have to contact me, because I gave a lot of the information to the high school, and in fact, Ms. Warner is also a St. Mary's graduate. If she signs up, she can get the same thing. So anybody who's graduated from St. Mary's, either through a graduate program or anything else, if you sign up, you can do this. And again, they waive the $55 fee, and then their applications actually go to the top of the pile. So it's something nice that St. Mary's is doing. It's also, to help us promote, not that I haven't ever promoted St. Mary's College.
Having said that, I am adjourning this portion of the meeting, and we are adjourning to closed session.
Could I ask the board, given the hour, is it possible for the board to go back and deal with the expulsions and that?